You ever wonder how a doctor takes a bunch of symptoms, a headache here, some fatigue there, and turns it into a specific diagnosis? It kind of feels like magic, right? But it's not. There's a hidden, super powerful system at play called classification. It's like the invisible architecture of all of modern medicine. So today, let's pull back that curtain and see how it all works.
And this, right here, this is the big question. Because when we're talking about your health or the health of someone you care about, the system for naming what's wrong can't just be a good guess. No, it's gotta be rock solid. So how in the world do we build a classification system that we can actually trust?
You know, at its heart, this is all about bringing a little order to a whole lot of chaos. As people, we're hardwired to sort and label the world around us just to make sense of it all. But in science, and especially in medicine, that instinct becomes a critical, life-saving method. Okay, so the Oxford English Dictionary gives us this very formal definition, but let's just cut to the chase. What classification really does is create a shared language. It's how a doctor in New York and a researcher in Tokyo can look at a problem and know they're talking about the exact same thing. It's the common ground for everything that follows.
And trust me, this is not just some abstract idea. In a field like neurosurgery, this is life or death. The WHO classification of tumors, for example, helps doctors figure out the exact type of brain tumor they're dealing with. And that single piece of information changes the entire treatment plan. Or take the Karnofsky scale. It measures how well a patient is functioning. That can decide whether they're even able to handle an aggressive surgery. These aren't just labels, they're critical forks in the road. Now, all this might sound like it's just for specialists in white lab coats, but here's the thing. You have almost certainly been classified by one of these systems, probably without even thinking twice about it. Just think about any simple blood test you've ever had. Your results come back, and they put you into one of two buckets. Either you're within normal limits, or you're not within normal limits. That's it. That is a classification system in its most basic form. It's a simple, binary choice that tells your doctor what to do next. So, if these systems are everywhere, and they're so incredibly important, how do we know if they're any good? Well, they aren't just invented on a whim. They are carefully designed, and they are tested against some really rigorous scientific principles. Ultimately, any medical classification system, no matter how complex, lives or dies by two simple but profound questions. First, is it valid? Meaning, is it actually measuring what it says it's measuring? And second, is it consistent? Will it spit out the same result time and time again? These are really the twin pillars of any medicine you can trust. All right, so let's really dig into these two pillars. We'll start with validity. What does it actually mean for a medical diagnosis to be valid? Validity is all about accuracy. It's asking, are we hitting the right target? You know, if you try to measure your height with a thermometer, the number it gives you isn't valid. In medicine, a system has to be aimed squarely at the right biological reality to be of any use. But validity itself has two crucial parts. There's internal validity, which is basically, does the system even make sense on paper? Is it logical? But the real test, the one that really matters, is external validation. Does the system work in the messy, unpredictable real world? Does it actually help real patients with real problems? Because if it doesn't, what's the point? The second pillar is consistency, or what doctors often call clinical agreement. This just means that two different doctors looking at the exact same information should use the system and arrive at the exact same conclusion. Think of it like a baseball umpire. For the game to be fair, they have to call the same pitch a strike every single time. It's got to be the same in medicine. Reliability is key. So we have these two big ideas, validity and consistency. But this isn't just theory, right? Let's bring it back home. Why do these labels actually matter so much when you're the one sitting in the doctor's office?
Well, the utility is just immense. First, a clear label lets your doctor talk precisely with other specialists, no matter where they are in the world. Second, that same label points directly to a proven treatment plan, which takes so much of the guesswork out of your care. And finally, it gives both you and your doctor a kind of roadmap, a way to understand what the future might look like and make the best possible decisions together. It's the absolute foundation of how we practice medicine today.
And that brings us right to the cutting edge. With things like personalized medicine and genetics exploding, we're starting to realize that the neat little boxes we've built, well, they might not be big enough anymore. Diseases are way more complex, more individual than we ever imagined. So the question that's going to define the future of medicine is this: can our systems for classifying things evolve as fast as our knowledge is?
Or will the very labels that are meant to help us end up holding us back? That right there is the challenge for the next generation.